These are the ultimate animals. They've been known to eat humans. They never forget a face. They're ravens and crows. But don't be scared. Crows also like to play like puppies. And they're as brainy as apes. Forget the parrot.
Can you say hello?
Crows and ravens might just be the smartest birds in the world. And to back that up, here are some of the ways in which crows and ravens show us how clever they are. Starting with the fact that crows are smart enough to tell you off. Your ears do not deceive.
Hello.
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 Crows and ravens really can speak. And while Edgar Allan Poe turned talking blackbirds into something scary, the reality?
I love you.
When you raise captive crows, occasionally they will mimic people's voice. And often they only talk to one person. They're actually paying attention and trying to communicate, usually with that specific individual.
Pet crows are said to give their owners names in the form of specific sounds they only use around that person.
I know.
But in the wild, crows have their own unique way of communicating, and their language may be richer than anyone ever realized.
We know that crows and ravens have an extremely varied vocabulary and a very rich vocabulary with some calls that have very specific meanings.
Crows even seem to have their own accents and regional dialects. For centuries, it was believed that true intelligent thought could only exist in mammalian brains. But in 2013, German neuroscientists discovered something strange in the crow's brain. Something that could lead to some incredible human advancements. The scientists wired electrodes to the brains of crows and monitored them while the birds solved a series of complex memory tests. What they found could lead to a pretty amazing human advancement. As far out as it sounds, by studying a crow's brain, we could learn to communicate with aliens, if they exist. The key is the bird's brain, which is the closest thing to alien intelligence that we know of. When we mammals are trying to reason something out, we use our prefrontal cortex. Birds have no prefrontal cortex. Their seat of reason is in a completely different part of the brain, known as the nidopallium caudalateral. Based on the German study, some people believe understanding how a brain so different than our own works could help us communicate with future visitors. Or at least build smarter scarecrows. As long as we're comparing brains, in relation to the size of their bodies, crow and raven brains are about the same size as those of great apes. And just like intelligent primates, these birds can use tools. And they may be better at it than any chimp. This is the New Caledonian crow. In the wild, this indigenous bird uses long sticks to reach tasty bugs. But they don't just use tools, they make them.
They make hook tools, they make barbed tools. You can teach a chimpanzee to do that, but they're not very good at it.
Here, a crow named Betty tries to retrieve a little basket of food. But all she has is a straight piece of wire. With just a little thinking, she turns the wire into a hook. No one taught her how to do it. She figured it out herself.
I mean, she really had to have had a plan in her head of this is how this is going to work. And it went through step by step, and the sequencing of a complex behavior, that implies insight. We don't associate it with many animals. what we do with this crow.
Betty is currently earning a degree in IT tech repair. If crows are so smart, then why do so many people still look at them as symbols of fear? It may go back to the bubonic plague, when over 75 million people on 3 continents lay dead or dying.
There are no vultures in Northern Europe, so it's the crows and ravens that ate the dead.
You could have a crow or raven come right onto your deck and eat a piece of bread, and 2 minutes later it could be eating your neighbor who happened to have died from the plague.
But crows have come a long way since then. Today, if they want to grab a meal, it's a little easier, because when it comes to getting food, crows and ravens are regular Einsteins. In just one 4-month breeding season, a small family of crows can eat over 40,000 bugs. But it's not all grubs and worms for crows. They also like to eat what we eat, from leftover Chinese food to this.
They can fish. Some crows drop bait in the water and wait for fish to come up and then grab them.
Bon appetit. A taste for the finer things in life isn't the only way crows are like us. After a hard day's work, they like to cut loose too. Yes, that crow is sledding. And it doesn't stop there. They'll play fetch, frolic in the snow, and swing around on branches if there's nothing better to do.
Play is a very beneficial activity. It helps establish social relationships, relieve stress. It's beneficial for animals just like it's beneficial for us.
It's one of the ways they keep the family together. And when it comes to family, crows may be as advanced as humans. Fall in love, move to the burbs, raise some kids. It's the American dream. And for many crows, it's the same story.
American crows have a social system that is more similar to Western society humans than probably any other animal on Earth.
For instance, American crows mate for life. Crow couples stake out a piece of territory to raise their young. And when unclaimed real estate is hard to come by, crow kids will often live with their parents to help raise their younger siblings. Or, as we humans call it, freeloading.
Those gangs of crows you see in your neighborhood, they're actually families with mom and dad and kids from a number of different years that are all hanging together and watching out for each other.
And they really come together when there's a death in the family. Because when it comes to the end, crows and ravens may actually hold funerals for their dead.
When they see a dead crow on the ground, they will swarm around that. It's a social gathering on a huge level. There could be 1,000 birds even that gather around some of these situations.
And according to observers, it seems to be much more than just morbid curiosity.
They've described the crows processing by the body, bringing sticks around the body, or just a gathering in the trees that is very noisy. And then the birds disperse silently.
So maybe it's time we all pay our respects to the brainy birds in our backyard.